Welcome to my channel for a brand new concept. Design with me. In this video series, we will spend more time together creating visuals with longer videos and less editing. The idea is to show you the design process in real time, share my techniques and tips, and let you see how I transform an idea into a final visual. For this first video, we will start with an image that I find very amusing. This image will serve as the basis for our project today. I'll show you how I work with this image, the different stages of the creation process, and the decisions I make along the way. Throughout the design process, I will try to explain the meaning I give to the different graphic elements I add and why. You will see that each shape and composition is thought out and justified in relation to my subject. Get comfortable, and let's start this first episode of Design with Me. So, I was scrolling through Pinterest until I came across an image that I really liked and that inspired me for the next steps. We will start our design in Photoshop right away. I will save the image to the desktop, then open a square format in Photoshop. About 2000 pixels by 2000 pixels with a resolution of 300 dpi. I chose the square format because I will be inspired by the following types of visuals. I will import my visual by dragging and dropping it into Photoshop. The first step will be to extract only the main subject of my image, which is the dog in armor. For this, I will go to the Select tab, then Subject. Photoshop will try to automatically find the main subject of my image while creating a selection area. As we can see, Photoshop has trouble finding my subject because the image is not sharp and clear enough. So we will refine the selection ourselves using the Quick Selection tool or by using the keyboard shortcut W. By holding down the Alt key, we can deselect the areas that do not interest us in the image. Don't hesitate to zoom in and change the brush size to make our selection easier. Of course, if we have deselected too much, just release the Alt key to use the Quick Selection tool in Add mode. Once the selection is complete, we will cut it out. To do this, I will click on the small plus sign at the bottom right of the software and click on Mask to create a mask on our layer. We see that the selection is not very clean, so we will select this mask next to our layer and, using the brush tool, we will rework everything. Using the black color, we will erase unwanted areas, and with white, add hidden areas. We will refine the cutout of our subject this way. A little tip: to change the black and white colors more quickly, just press the keyboard shortcut X, which will swap them automatically. The idea is not to make the cutout perfect, as the image is not of very good quality, but we will manage to create something nice. We will redefine the curves. If we have any doubts, just do a Shift plus left click to show and hide the mask. This helps us see the missing areas and what needs to be retouched. When we are satisfied with our rendering, we can move on to the next step. What bothers me about this visual, first, is that it's missing an arm on the other side of the armor. It lacks symmetry. To fix this, we will transform our layer into a smart object. Then we will use the Lasso tool, keyboard shortcut L, to manually select the area we want. Next, I will do a Ctrl plus C and Ctrl plus V to copy and paste my selection. With Ctrl plus T, I will be able to select and move the selection as I wish. Then I will right-click, flip horizontal to flip my selection. Now, we will try to position this arm as best as possible by using the armor layer below as a guide. We will distort our layer by pressing Ctrl plus left click to warp our layer and find a more logical perspective. When it's good, we will add a mask by clicking the small plus at the bottom right. And with our brush like before, we will try to erase the parts that don't interest us. To make it blend better, we will reduce the hardness in the brush option so that the areas to be erased are more diffuse. We will try to make the sword handle stick out, as if the hand were behind it. The illusion isn't too bad. The second thing I would like to change in this visual is the hole that is here under the arm. For that, we will use Photoshop's artificial intelligence. To start with the lasso tool, key L, we will create the selection we want to generate. Then, we will click the Generative Fill button. And in the box that appears, we will write a prompt corresponding to our needs. I will try with the prompt, generate a texture of a silver armor. We will get 3 variants that have been created. It's not quite what I wanted, but we will cheat a bit to fix it. I will convert the generated layer into a smart object. Then, with the key J, use the texture generation tool and click. A message appears asking if we want to rasterize our layer, and we will accept. Then, we will select the area to transform it into textures. It's not perfect, but with the eraser tool, we can erase the areas and get a satisfactory result. Well, from a distance, it's not too noticeable, which is fine. My idea for the final visual will not be very large, and neither will our dog in armor. So we can stop there with our image. We will then select all our layers by selecting them, then right-click and convert them into Smart Object. With Ctrl plus T, I will reposition and reduce my image. We will center it, and this will be our base composition. Now let's talk about inspiration and explain why I chose this image. If we set aside its humorous aspect, the image reminds me a bit of our first day at work, like a beginner with big responsibilities. It can also represent the eternal amateur or child that we are, even if we are seasoned professionals or experienced adults. The dog represents the beginner side, and the armor represents experience. The overall theme is evolution over time. Finally, the fact that our character looks to the left is not accidental. I could have changed the direction, but it's to symbolize looking back, a reminder of the past. I want to add a caption to this visual that makes sense with all this, but also to make an elegant title with a typographic play that remains relevant to the theme. This typographic play I will do with Adobe Illustrator. The phrase I have chosen for my title will be, "Newbie today, legend tomorrow." I find this short phrase interesting because it also creates a contrast of meaning by duality with newbie and legend, the same for today and tomorrow. So I am going to split the sentence in two and find relevant typographies. For the second part, I would like a serif font that looks more refined. I found this font here. I'm not a big fan of the letter L, And I think a more elaborate handmade script typography would bring more meaning to the word legend with a historical and handcrafted look. I'm going to enlarge the L and position it here. I find the thickness of my letter too much, and to remedy this, we will vectorize this letter. To do this, right-click and choose Vectorize. Our letter has now become a shape. Next, we will add a white outline. And I think a thickness of 0.75 will suffice. We will select our letter, then go to Object and choose Expand, ensuring both fill and stroke are selected, then confirm. This will transform our outline into a shape. Then, we will reselect our object and use the Pathfinder tool. If you don't have it, go to Window and find Pathfinder at the bottom. In my tab, we will use the Divide option, which will cut all my shapes. We can see that now our shape is composed of white, and we don't want that. For this, we will double-click on our shape, which will open our group of shapes. Then select the white shape, go to Select, then Same, and Fill Color. The software will automatically find all the white shapes, and we can delete them. Be careful. With this process, there is a high chance of generating transparent shapes as well. To remove them, we will reproduce the same method to obtain our shape only in black and clean. We will vectorize our remaining typography and reposition it. To get an idea of the rendering, we will import it into Photoshop by selecting My Sentence and with a simple copy-paste into the software. Confirm Smart Object. It is very important if we need to enlarge the shape. Positioned like this, it's cool. I will stay on Photoshop for the rest of my text. So with the shortcut T and a left click, I will create a text box and write Newbie Today. Always to preserve the meaning of my visual, I think a pixel-style typography will be good and symbolize the rough, unpolished stone that represents an amateur. With Ctrl+T, we will place the text. Here, it's not too bad. At this point, I think we could improve the text at the bottom to make it more harmonious. For this, since we imported this layer as a smart object, we just need to double-click on our layer, which will automatically create a link and open it in Illustrator. From here, I can work on what was bothering me, which is the size of the top bar of the letter D. For this, with the A key, I will take the white cursor, which will allow me to select only the points of my shape, and using Shift plus left click held down, I will lower the bar of my D along the same axis. I will also bring my two words closer together. Now I will do a Ctrl+S, which corresponds to the save function, which will automatically update my layer in Photoshop. Let's go back to see that, and there it is. It's modified. Great. I'll adjust it a bit more. Here are the main points of my visual: a stylized title, and a central and main subject, all bringing a coherent meaning to my theme. We will focus more on the aesthetics while keeping in mind to graphically represent my idea. We will start by working on the background of the visual, and since our base image is not of very good quality, I will show you a trick by playing with the colors to remedy this. I use an effect found in Adjustments called Gradient Map. It is a filter that is based on a color gradient and applies it to the visual. We will double-click on our gradient to modify it. To add a color, we will left-click below our gradient at the height of the two small squares at the ends. This way, we can add a new color by double-clicking on our new small square. In this new panel, I will choose an orange color related to the base color of our dog to start. Then, we will continue to play with the colors of our gradient by adding other colors like gray. It's up to you to customize this as you see fit, because it will be more a matter of taste. Once our gradient map is configured, keep in mind that this filter will affect all the layers below it. So if we want a particular color, it's better to have it on a layer above our gradient map. We will change the color of our typography to orange, similar to our base orange. I decided to make the background of my visual black using the Paint Bucket tool shortcut G, and we fill the background. Our title has disappeared because it was in black. We will double-click on our title layer, which will open the Layer Style tab, and we will click on Color Overlay and select white. This will turn our title white. Visual is progressing, and I like the look it's taking. I will make the main subject stand out a bit by adding a background area behind our armor. For this, I will use the Rectangle tool, keyboard shortcut U, and draw a rectangle in the background. To maintain the idea of evolution and progression of my visual, I will deform it to create a diagonal that goes from the left up to the right. With Ctrl+T, then Shift+Ctrl+ left click, we will be able to stretch our shape along the same axis and reposition our shape, approximately 1/3 of our composition. We will rework our composition by creating small lines that will slice and grid our visual. Using the U key, I will draw a small rectangle of this size and change its color to white. We have a small line that we will duplicate and rotate in the opposite direction. Then, we will select them and reduce their size so that the shapes just reach the edges of my visual, symbolizing a cross at equal distance. Next, I will select and duplicate them. Then, while holding down Ctrl+T and Alt, place them opposite my composition. Good. This already helps to center the focus on my title, but we will emphasize this effect a bit more. We will duplicate my two rectangles from the top and move them below my title at a good distance. Then, I will readjust the size of my rectangles so that my bottom bar underlines the word tomorrow up to the letter O. Underlining this word emphasizes the end of the sentence a bit, but also gives the impression that the lines are coming out of the frame, symbolizing progression towards the future. We will also work on the bottom in a different manner than the top. We will start by selecting our shapes, duplicating them, and placing them at the bottom. For this area, I imagine a sort of segment like a graduated ruler. To do this, I will move and position my rectangles to create this segment. To avoid the orange area getting in our way while working here, we will lock it by selecting this layer and clicking on the small lock icon right here. This layer will no longer be selectable. Sticking to the theme, the idea of graduation is interesting because it can symbolize measurement, as if we want to measure our progress. To represent this, I will duplicate my previous shapes and try to reproduce the same graduation system as a ruler. Once that is done, we will place these shapes behind our subject to keep it somewhat discreet. We will select all these shapes and integrate them into a group to avoid creating too many layers in our panel by clicking at the bottom right. From this point, stepping back, I find that my visual is quite empty and needs something in the background. I think a mountain landscape would be interesting because the shape of the mountains aligns with the idea of progression with my diagonal lines, but also symbolizes effort and the path to climb to evolve. I will therefore import this image as a background, which I will distort and reposition with Ctrl+T. Here, the colors are not right. To change this, we will reduce the opacity of our image by adjusting the percentages right here. For compositional purposes, I think adding a circle in the background, quite discreet, will further center the focus. But we won't do it with a simple shape. I will directly import an image of the moon. It will be nicer. I will position it in the background. Then we will play with the filter of my layer and select Color Dodge. Then, as with the mountain image, we will adjust its opacity to keep it as discreet as possible. This image adds some texture and also a bit of composition to my visual. Speaking of texture, I will add a photocopy texture under all my layers to start working on a rendering. As before, I will apply the Color Dodge option. I will also move my layer just above my orange shape. And, with a right-click clipping mask, I will embed my texture into my shape. I find it too intense, so we will reduce its opacity. Next, I will duplicate my texture and place it at the very top of my layers. We will check which filter to choose. Color Dodge seems good too. We will adjust it a bit, and there we go. I will tweak the opacity of the background a bit. Okay, all these details will be adjusted at the end, and I will explain how. For now, we will lock the texture layer so it is not selectable while we continue working on our visual. From now on, we will focus on the details of our visual, still aesthetic, but necessarily related to our theme. I am thinking of relevant shapes and a bit more text in the same lexical field as our title to really capture the ambiance and the message of my visual. We will start by adding textured, hand-drawn shapes to echo the beginner aspect of the image. I think this crown would suit our brave knight well, but it will look just as good if I place it on the B of newbie. We'll say it symbolizes the eternal king of beginners. With a mask, I will erase the back loop of my line to give the illusion that it goes around my letter. Then, we will change the shape to white to make it more visible. We're going to import another form of scribbling behind the knight to make it stand out more. We'll reposition it and also change its color to orange. I think it looks good. The added sense can be interpreted as if the messy and amateurish side is still lurking behind our character. To add a small symbol that echoes the legend aspect, what better than a little star? I'll simply import my shape, create it in Illustrator, position it, and change its color to white. I find that under the word today, it's quite empty. To draw a parallel with the word tomorrow, I'll import a trace shape just below. Again, I've created a symbolic parallel between past and future. The trace, which is crude today, will become fine and perfect tomorrow. Next, I'll start adding some text. The text in my visual is more concrete than my shapes, since it will provide more evident meaning to the visual. I'll add a sentence here, but this time with a more lineal typography. Then, I'll write "Good things take time." Next, I'll italicize this text and emphasize the end of the sentence by making "take time" bold. Positioning this phrase here is not random, as it echoes my cross shape that extends beyond the frame and symbolizes the future. Tomorrow, the future, time, you get it. To emphasize "take time," I'll import a hand-drawn line shape that I'll place on top. It reminds me a bit of what you might find on a post-it. It gives a memo effect. Of course, we'll change its color to white. To nod to some modern graphic visuals and fill in this small empty space, I'll add the registered trademark symbol by importing it directly. Now let's work on the text. I want to add some text at the bottom of my visual to add a bit more meaning. I'll duplicate the text I created earlier and write a new sentence here. Every step counts. I'll use uppercase letters and place it on 2 lines. Visually, the text on 2 lines refers to the steps to be taken and is positioned on the left, symbolically in the past, present. We'll duplicate this same text on the right and align it to the right. We'll write, "Keep moving forward." For this text, it's on the right and echoes the other elements above that talk about the future and tomorrow. I'll adjust the text settings to make them more balanced. Using my rectangle tool, I'll draw a new shape in black with a white border to make it more visible over our armor. I'll add text on top of it. We'll write something similar to "No pain, no gain." So it will be "Effort pays off." Positioned over my image, it will act as a signature or validation stamp to show that with effort, one can evolve and wear armor. I'll reposition and rebalance my elements. Once that's done, we'll add some small elements on the sides. This time, I'm thinking of adding arrows like these, placing them one opposite the other so that they point towards our subject. This both recalls the idea of moving upwards, progressing, and diagonally, but also instinctively redirects the eye towards the center. Above my arrows, I'll add text, but this time positioned vertically for compositional purposes. I'll write, "It's a journey." I'll duplicate it on the other side and write, "Worth the wait." We'll adjust them to be balanced. The choice of text is relevant in my opinion because its meaning is justified by its placement on the mountain image, recalling the journey and long trials to overcome. Finally, I'll add my personal touch, my artist's signature at the top. And I'll add, still to sign my visual, my Instagram at Franck_Jeannin. Feel free to subscribe and follow my work. Then, the hashtag for our video today, designwithme. Now, let's tackle the last part of this video, the final visual and aesthetic tweaks. For that, we'll select all our layers and group them into one single group. What I like to do is duplicate this group and hide the one underneath. This allows us to keep what we've created so far. Then I'll right-click on my group and convert it into a smart object. I'll perform a necessary step for the next part. I'll do a Ctrl+A to select the entire area, then Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V to copy and paste my image. We'll convert it into a smart object with a right click, and we're ready for the next step. We'll go to Filter and then Camera Raw Filter. This will open a panel allowing us to retouch our final visual. What we'll do right away, and what I recommend, is to click on the little square at the bottom to open a before and after view. This will help us see our modifications. From here, we'll play with the settings on the right to intensify our visual, bringing out the blacks and colors. I also like to add texture, clarity, and dehaze in effects, which will slightly degrade the image but help everything blend together a bit more. I'll add a vignette, which will add a slight diffuse shadow around my visual, reinforcing the focus towards the center. And finally, I'll add a bit of grain to texture the entire image globally. Once satisfied, click OK. That's it for this visual. After making some additional modifications off camera, here's the final result. So, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching this video till the end. I hope you discovered some tips and especially enjoyed and understood my creation process. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the bell to not miss the next episode. Keep creating and enjoy.